Thanks, Evgeny, for joining us today. Could you please introduce Clausematch and your role in the company?
Hi, it's great to be here. I'm the founder and CEO of Clausematch, and at Clausematch we help regulated companies in regulated industries to comply with regulations and manage compliance content in a modern, compliant, and real-time way.
Thank you very much. So what are the problems that Clausematch solves for the customers? And if you could please share the latest use cases and how your solutions evolved during the time.
Yes, absolutely. At Clausematch, we help our customers to manage compliance content like policies, procedures, regulatory obligations in one single place, and then to distribute that compliance content to employees in a compliant way and track engagement with these documents. Clausematch as a platform is solving the problem that I have seen personally in the financial services industry, and before that working in oil and gas, and that is the fact that we're still managing compliance documents in the same way as 20 years ago. With Clausematch, rather than, for example, sending a policy document when it's being updated via email as a Word document, and trying to get comments, changes, approval, suggestions on this document via email, all of that is centralized. And once that document is approved by the relevant people, by the committees, and checked for compliance with the related regulatory obligation, it's then distributed to employees via what we call an employee portal, where employees can engage with this content, ask questions, provide attestations, and we can actually track that certain employees have read this document.
Thank you very much. That's brilliant. So you touched on the solutions that you're providing to the customers. And so what is the USP of Clausematch then?
So our unique part of Clausematch is what we call a document editor. Long time ago, when this technology wasn't really available to the market, we decided to build a real-time content and document collaboration as a core of the platform. And even today on the market, we don't see many companies developing that type of technology because it's quite challenging. And at the same time, because we control and we help our customers to control the content creation process, that means that we are storing that content as structured data. And that also means that we can apply machine learning and natural language processing to this content and then help our customers and our users to highlight related content within the platform. As an example, a practical example would be mapping and identifying relevant and related regulatory obligations, mapping them to policies, and then in turn mapping them to procedures. So when, for example, you're changing a policy document or a specific paragraph in that policy document, you know exactly how, where the impact is across the organization on other related documents.
Thank you very much. So you touched on the compliance and the regulations and policies. So what are the trends in the compliance space that you observe nowadays?
So we're seeing a big change in companies looking at new regulations. For example, ESG, ESG standards and ESG regulation across the world are affecting how companies are, for example, evaluating their vendors, how companies are evaluated by their investors. And that means that a much wider audience of companies are required to comply with ESG standards and regulations. And there is a big interest and, a big change in companies adopting new policies, new procedures, and actually following the ESG standards, which are being pushed out by organizations or countries or governments. In another kind of financial services sphere, we're seeing crypto regulations are being talked about quite a lot. And actually, we're working with a number of crypto companies which are following the trend of potential new crypto regulations, and they're managing compliance documents in a very similar way. Obviously, they're part of anti-money laundering regulations, and they need to comply with them. But there are new regulations which are being drafted now. So that is another emerging field and regulations.
Thank you very much. That's brilliant. So you touched on the features that you have developed and serving your customers, as well as the goals. So Clausematch celebrates its 10th anniversary this year. What are the milestones that company has achieved during the journey, and what are your further growth strategies?
Yeah, absolutely. So I guess a few milestones. Our first client was Barclays after we participated in the Barclays Accelerator, which was run by Techstars, the US accelerator for companies. And that has been a great partnership. We've been working with Barclays now for over 6 years, and they have proven to be an amazing client for us. So that was the first milestone, which then enabled us to create a case study with Barclays and then show to other banks how compliance could be done in a better, modern way. The next milestone was really when we raised a large round of funding in 2018, which was led by Index Ventures and Thales Capital. Both are well-known venture capital funds. And that enabled us to really expand our team and build out the products that we had. For example, we came out with a new employee portal module, exceptions management module, compliance assessment module. And this really helped us to expand our product offerings. And then 2020 was a big year for us when, a big milestone was getting 4 North American clients and expanding to North America based on the demand that we're getting from the US and Canadian markets. So this was a huge milestone because we know it's very difficult to expand to the US market, and typically it takes a lot of time and resources to expand there. But on the back of signing great tier 1 financial institutions in North America, we managed to expand, and we're growing that team there, our team there. Otherwise, yes, the last 2 years have been great as well in working with other adjacent industries. So we've signed a number of clients in asset management and insurance. So that really added more verticals to where our software is being used.
Thank you. And lastly, what is the latest news about Clausematch or from Clausematch?
So the latest news, we raised another round of funding last year, which is enabling us to continue growing, to continue really streamlining our go-to-market strategy in Europe and US, which are currently core markets for us. And an interesting fact that Sony Innovation Fund, which is part of Sony Corporation, also invested in this round. And for them, this was a strategic investment because large companies are realizing that regulation is not going away, and regulation is just becoming more complex and applicable to wider types of companies, by way of data privacy regulations, for example, anti-money laundering, know your customer. It doesn't just apply to financial services, but actually every industry is now becoming heavily regulated.
That's brilliant news. Congratulations on that. And thank you very much for your time, Evgeny.
Thank you very much. And thank you for having me.